Bengals Ring of Honor voting is here, which means season ticket holders can vote on the 2023 Ring of Honor class. Get my thoughts on who should make the cut. Yes, there are two names that are above the rest on my list. We'll get to those and discuss other candidates coming up next. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and all of our videos right now brought to you by Rivertown Inquiry and rivertowninquiry.com. So check out all of their Cincy gear. And without further ado, let's dive into the 2023 Bengals Ring of Honor nominees. And voting started earlier this week. It lasts through June 9th, and it features 13 former players. And season ticket holders can vote. And the way it's based is the longer you've been a season ticket holder, the more weight your vote holds. And that's been the case over the past couple of years as Bengals Ring of Honor inductees have gone in, and there are 6 members. And so who will join the 6? And just so you know, the 6 are Ken Anderson, Willie Anderson, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, Ken Riley. So who will join those 6? And the nominees are Jim Breech, James Brooks, Cris Collinsworth, Corey Dillon, Boomer Esiason, David Fulcher, Chad Johnson, Tim Krumrie, Dave Lapham, Max Montoya, Lemar, Parrish, Bob Trumpy, Reggie Williams. Let's start here. All 13 of these guys should get into the Bengals Ring of Honor. They should. All 13. And it really depends because only 2 are going to get in this year. It depends on how the Bengals want to do it and how you want to view it. Do you want to reward the guys that should have been in for years and years and years? Because the Bengals Ring of Honor happened too late, and they're still playing catch up. And I get that. I understand it. That's why all 13 of these guys should be in. Like, there's no debate there. I'm not going to debate you about Jim Breech, who made so many huge kicks for the Bengals in the 80s, or debate you about Cris Collinsworth, or debate you about James Brooks, who, when you look at the numbers, is arguably the best running back in team history. Corey Dillon could certainly make a push for that as well. David Fulcher, we know what he brings. And we could go on and on about all these guys. To me, it comes down to 3 players for this round of voting. And when you look at Lemar Parrish, I think he's just slightly on the outside looking in. And it depends on who you ask. Because if you ask people that watched him live, they would say, Lemar Parrish should be in. And I get it. You look at the All-Pros, you look at the Pro Bowls, all of those things. But nobody outside of Paul Brown, nobody has meant as much to this organization as Chad Johnson. And I said it last year. People laughed at me. They voted for Isaac Curtis, which is great. I get it. I totally understand it. Isaac Curtis should have been in the Ring of Honor 20 years ago. So I get it. No one, no receiver, no quarterback, no one, as my voice cracks, had the impact of Chad Johnson. So that's the first guy I would vote for right here. You see the Chad Johnson 85 is alive and well. I'm just going to set this right here as we finish this video. Chad Johnson, to me, is a no-brainer pick for this. He's the Bengals all-time leader in receptions, yards, or receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. And he was electric. He was a game changer on the field, and yet made it fun for fans and really had such an impact. And I think all of those things need to be weighed. And so were there better players? Of course, Anthony Munoz was a better player than Chad Johnson. Ken Anderson had more of an impact, I would say, on the field because he's a quarterback. And I could go on and on. I get that. He didn't have the longevity of Ken Riley. I'm not even saying he should be a Hall of Famer. But impact on the Bengals Ring of Honor, Chad Johnson has to be in. He should have been in last year. And some are going to say, James, that's because it's your era. It's your era, so you value him more. And while that might be the case to a degree, you can't argue with the numbers. He's number 1 in all the major receiving categories. And he came to the franchise pre-Carson Palmer. That's the part of it that I think some just associate. Oh, no, Chad, he was in that Carson Palmer Marvin era. He was also productive in 2002 with Dick LeBeau as a second-year receiver out of Oregon State. Had over 1,000 yards with John Kitna throwing him the ball on a bad offense. came alive the second part of that year. 2003 to 2007, in a league with Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and multiple other guys that you could talk about, top receivers, he was arguably the best one. Led the league in receiving it one year, led the AFC in receiving multiple years. Chad Johnson, to me, no-brainer pick. So we will leave that jersey up right there. That 85 is alive and well. The other one, and like I said, Lemar Parrish on the outside looking in. How can you not vote in the other MVP? They've only had 2 MVPs in team history in 55 seasons. One, Ken Anderson, is in. Helped the Bengals get to Super Bowl 16 and won MVP that year and was a huge part of what the Bengals did from the mid-70s to the mid-80s. Get it. Guess who took the reins in the mid-80s? Ken Anderson to Boomer Esiason, which, what a 1-2, right? Where you go from one great to another guy in Boomer Esiason, a Pro Bowler that also won an MVP in 1988, who also led the Bengals to a Super Bowl and got closer to winning it. He was this close to winning it. Now, the offense wasn't that great during that playoff run, and Boomer Esiason didn't put up huge numbers in the postseason. But to me, looking at what he did, how many MVPs are there in team history? How can you leave one of those guys out? I think impact matters. Boomer Esiason was an icon in the 80s. A lot of Bengals fans. I mean, I remember even in the 90s, because I was born in 91, I knew about Boomer and people talked about Boomer like he was just there. And then I remember in 97 when he came back and it was like, oh my, Boomer's back. And he had that late season run, which is quite hilarious, to be quite honest, leading the Bengals, I think 4-1 in their final 5. But Boomer is one of the best passers in franchise history. I would say he's second to Ken Anderson. And whether you look at it and you see guys on this list, right? Cris Collinsworth benefited from having a Boomer Esiason throwing him the ball. James Brooks benefited from playing in an offense led by Boomer Esiason. You could go down the list of guys that were impacted by Boomer there. And so that would be the other one that I would vote. So if I had to give you a vote, those would be the 2, Chad Johnson, Boomer Esiason. I do have some other thoughts in general on the Bengals Ring of Honor, but I do want to tell you about something that's completely changed the way I train. Everyone knows I have a little one now, and that means I don't get to go to the gym as much as I used to, and that's okay because I've been able to train at home with the Yasol G1 Max bike. And this bike, man, it has been such a game changer. You're talking about a heavy duty bike that came with a 32-inch extra large screen, and you can stream your workouts right to it on the Yasol app. And so whether you want to do intense bike workouts, whether it's intervals, which I love the intervals because it's 20 minutes in, out, and I feel like I've gotten a really good workout in, or you want to go on some longer rides, or you just want a free ride, or you want to take different classes, you can do all of those things with Yasol, and it's compatible with Peloton, YouTube, Netflix. So heck, you could watch Cincinnati Bengals talk while you're on the Yasol G1 Max bike. And you're talking about a high performance bike for a low cost, and you're going to get 10% off right now with promo code Bengals10. I've enjoyed riding it, and I think you will too. Comfort, it's got it. Support while you're riding, it's got it. Features, adjustable seat, adjustable handlebars, 32-inch HD screen, it's got it. So check it out right now. I put a link in the description, and you go to yasolfitness.com, use promo code Bengals10, and you're going to get my favorite bike, my go-to bike, certainly. So it's the Yasol G1 Max. Check it out today. And again, use promo code Bengals10. It is an interesting debate, though, about the Bengals Ring of Honor, because I could certainly make the case, well, a lot of these guys should have already been in. Cris Collinsworth should have went in by 2000, and he should be ahead of Chad. And obviously, Tim Krumrie should be ahead of Chad. And David Fulcher, you could say Bob Trumpy should be ahead of Boomer and Chad. Reggie Williams is in that mix. I get it. And that's the part I want to make sure I hammer home. I am not trying to be disrespectful to any of these legends because they should all be in the Bengals Ring of Honor. Every single one of them. But I literally just did, and I'm in the process of completing the Enter the Jungle book, which if you haven't heard about it, it's a Bengals book called Enter the Jungle that I've written alongside Lake 7 Creative. And it's going to be released in September. You can get it at CincinnatiBengalsBook.com. Shameless plug. But the point is I've looked at every single season. I've done the research. And I still think it should be Chad and Boomer. That doesn't mean that these other guys shouldn't be in. All 13 will get in. And I do get the argument of, okay, well, Lemar Parrish is in his 70s. Bob Trumpy, same thing. And so if you want to go that route, I get it. I do, to play catch up. But as I analyze this, I have to go with most valuable. I thought Chad was a no-brainer last year. I thought Boomer was a no-brainer last year. Those are the two I would have went with, by the way, last year. And I'm pretty sure I'm on record with that. That doesn't mean I have a problem with Willie Anderson getting in or Isaac Curtis getting in. No doubt they deserve it. No doubt about it. So not debating that. It's just, if you're only picking two, you have to narrow it down. And Chad's impact, he should have been part of the inaugural class. Pretty simple. And then last year, the second class. Okay, fine. Then this year, the third class. And guess what? If he doesn't get in this year, I'm probably going to be posting a similar video next year. So we'll see if he gets in. Either way, though, I love that the Bengals have a Ring of Honor now. I love that we can have these debates because I'm sure plenty of you disagree with me. I get it. I wish all 13 were already in. It's going to take some time, and we haven't even talked about the backlog of the 2010s because there's a few players in the 2010s as well that will make eventually this Bengals Ring of Honor. So plenty of guys that will be eligible in the future. But yeah, I'm excited to see who gets inducted. Again, season ticket holders can vote. If you're not a season ticket holder, well, I'm sorry you can't vote. I can't vote either. It's okay. If I did, it would be Chad Johnson and Boomer Esiason. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And for Andrew Foxmiller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.